Watchman on the Pod. I got my second book today of the rest of the New Old Testament, and that is very exciting for me. And so now I can read out of the book of Proverbs, hopefully every day. And we can do that in the evening, I guess. And then Psalms during the day. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure. I don't want to guarantee or promise anything that I cannot hold to. So anyway, this is the Old Covenant, commonly called the Old Testament, translated in 1808 from the Septuagint by Charles Thomson. Proverbs chapter 1. It is written. The Proverbs of Solomon. The Proverbs of David's son Solomon, who reigned over Israel, to give a knowledge of wisdom and instruction, the perception of the words of prudence, the interpretation of sentences, a discernment of true justice, and to direct judgment, that he might give sagacity to the innocent and to the youth knowledge and discretion. For by attending to them, a wise man will become wiser, and a man of understanding will possess a rule of government, and will understand a proverb, and dark speech, and the sayings of the wise, and parables. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and all who practice this have good understanding. The piety towards God is the beginning of discernment, but the wicked despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and reject not the maxims of thy mother, for thou wilt receive a graceful crown for thy head, and a chain of gold for thy neck. My son, let not wicked men lead thee astray. Consent not when they advise thee, saying, Come with us, partake of blood, and let us hide in the earth an innocent man without cause, and swallow him up alive as the grave, and take away from earth the remembrance of him. Let us seize his precious substance and fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lots among us, and let us all have a common purse. Let one scrip serve us. Go not thou in the way with them, but turn thy foot from their paths. For nets are not spread for birds unjustly. For they who are accomplices to murder treasure up evils for themselves, and doleful is the destruction of wicked men. Such are the ways of all who commit iniquitous deeds, for by wickedness they destroy their own soul. Wisdom uttereth her song at the gates, and in the streets speaketh boldly, and on the tops of walls she maketh proclamation, and at the gates of mighty men taketh a seat, and at the gates of a city with confidence saith, While the innocent adhere to justice, they shall not be put to shame. But as for fools who delight in mischief, having become wicked, they hated knowledge and are become liable to censures. Behold, I will pour forth to you the dictate of my spirit, and teach you this word of mine, seeing I have called, and you have not answered. And though I continued my speech, you did not attend, but set at naught my counsels, and disregarded my reproofs. Therefore I will laugh at your calamity, and mock when your destruction cometh. Yes, when torment shall suddenly come upon you, and destruction like a whirlwind shall be at hand, even when tribulation and siege approach you, or when destruction is advancing upon you. For when you call upon me, I will not listen to you. The wicked may seek me, but they shall not find me. For they hated wisdom and did not choose the word of the Lord, nor would they attend to my counsels, but condemned my reproofs. Let them eat, therefore, the fruits of their own way, and be filled with their own iniquity. For because they wronged infants, they shall be slain, and a rigorous inquest shall destroy the wicked. But he who hearkeneth to me shall dwell with hope and rest secure from all evil. Chapter 2. My son, if thou wilt receive the dictate which I enjoin and hide it with thee, thine ear will hearken to wisdom, and thou wilt apply thy heart to understanding, and transmit it for instruction to thy son. For if thou wilt call upon wisdom and utter thy voice for understanding, if thou wilt seek for it as silver and search for it as for treasures, then thou shalt understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord giveth wisdom, and from his presence is knowledge and understanding. And he treasureth up salvation for the upright. He will protect their going, that they may keep the paths of rectitude. And he will guard the way of them who reverence him. Then thou shalt understand judgment and justice, and direct all thy wheels right. For when wisdom entereth into thine understanding, and knowledge appeareth pleasant to thy soul, good counsel will keep thee, and holy prudence will guard thee, that she may deliver thee from an evil way and from a man who speaketh perversely. Alas for them who leave straight paths to walk in the ways of darkness, who are delighted with evils and have joy in evil perversion, whose ways are crooked and whose paths turn aside to lead thee far from the straight road and estrange thee from a just determination. My son, let not evil counsel, who hath forsaken the discipline of youth and have forgotten the divine covenant, take hold of thee. For she hath placed her house near death, and her wheels with the earth borne near the mansion of the dead. None who walk by her direction can ever return, nor ever recover the right paths. For they are not taken hold of by years of life. If they indeed had walked in good ways, they would have found the paths of justice smooth. Because the upright shall inhabit the land, and the holy shall be left in it. The ways of the wicked shall be destroyed from the land, and the transgressors shall be driven out of it. Chapter 3. My son, forget not my laws, but let thy heart keep my commandments, for they will add to thee length of days and years of life and peace. Let not acts of kindness and faithfulness forsake thee, but bind them about thy neck, and thou shalt find favor. Be provident in regard to things good in the sight of the Lord and of men. Trust in God with thy whole heart, and be not elated for thine own wisdom. Shew it in all thy ways, that it may make thy paths straight. Be not wise in thine own conceit, but fear God, and depart from all evil. Then shall thy body have health, and thy bones a cure. Honor the Lord with some of thy righteous labors, and set apart for him some of thy fruits of righteousness, that thy barns may be plenteously filled with corn, and that thy vats may overflow with wine. My son, slight not the correction of the Lord, nor faint when reproved by him. For whom the Lord loveth, he reproveth, and chasteneth every son whom he receiveth. Happy the man who hath found wisdom, and the mortal who hath seen prudence. For it is better to traffic for her than for treasures of gold and silver. She is more precious than costly stones, and nothing evil can be compared to her. She is easily known by all who approach her, but no price is equal to her in value. For length of days and years of life are in her right hand, and in her left riches and glory. Out of her mouth proceedeth righteousness, and on her tongue she carrieth law and mercy. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to all who take hold of her, and safe for them who rely on her as on the Lord. By wisdom God founded the earth, and by understanding he furnished the heavens. By knowledge the deeps were broken up, and the clouds distilled dew. My son, be not wanting in retention, but keep my counsel, namely the sentiment, that thy soul may live, and that grace may be around thy neck, and it will be health to thy flesh, and a cure for thy bones, that thou mayest proceed on in all thy ways in peace and security, and that thy foot may not stumble. For when thou liest down, thou shalt be free from fear, and when thou sleepest, thou shalt sleep sweetly. Shalt not fear the bursting in of terror, nor the sudden assaults of wicked men. For the Lord will be over all thy ways, and will support thy foot, that thou mayest not be shaken. Delay not to do good to the needy, when it is in the power of thy hand to help. Do not say, go away and come again. Tomorrow I will give, when thou hast it in thy power to do good. For thou knowest not what tomorrow will bring forth. Devise not evils against thy friend, who sojourneth with thee and confideth in thee. Be not at enmity with a man without cause, lest he do thee some mischief. Acquire not the reproaches of bad men, nor be fond of their ways. For every transgressor is impure in the sight of the Lord, and among the righteous he taketh not a seat. The curse of God is in the houses of the wicked, but the folds of the righteous are blessed. The Lord resisteth the proud, but he granteth favor to the humble. The wise shall inherit glory, but the wicked have extolled dishonor. Chapter 4. Hear, O children, the instructions of a father, and attend to know the meaning. For I am giving you a good gift. Forsake not my law. For I was a son obedient to a father, and beloved in the sight of a mother. And they said, when they taught me, let our words sink deep in thy heart. Keep our commandments. Do not forget. Overlook not the dictate of my mouth. Forsake it not, and it will defend thee. Love it, and it will preserve thee. Secure it, and it will exalt thee. Honor it, that it may embrace thee, that it may be to thy head a crown of graces, and cover thee with a crown of pleasure. Hear, my son, and receive my words, that when the years of thy life shall be multiplied, that thou mayest have many ways of a livelihood. For I am teaching thee ways of wisdom, and confirming thee in right paths. For when thou goest, thy steps will not be straitened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not be tired. Take fast hold of mine instruction. Let it not go, but keep it for thyself during thy life. Go not in the ways of wicked men, nor be fond of the ways of transgressors. In what place soever they encamp, go not thither, but turn away from them and keep at a distance, for they cannot sleep. Unless they do evil, their sleep is taken from them, and they cannot lie down to rest. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink plentifully of the wine of violence. But the paths of the just shine like light, shining more and more until it is perfect day. But the ways of the wicked being dark, they know not at what they stumble. Attend, my son, to my speech, and incline thine ear to my words, that thy fountains may not fail thee. Keep them in thy heart, for they are life to them who find them, and health to all flesh. Guard thy heart with all diligence, for out of these are the issues of life. Put away from thee a froward mouth, and put perverse lips far from thee. Let thine eyes look straight forward, and thy eyelids wink justly. Make straight paths with thy feet, and order all thy ways right. Turn not to the right, nor to the left, but turn away thy foot from an evil way. For God knoweth the ways on the right, but those on the left are crooked. But he will make thy path straight and conduct thy steps in peace. Chapter 5. My son, attend to my wisdom, and incline thine ear to my words, that thou mayest keep a good understanding. Now the sense of my lips giveth thee this injunction: listen not to an abandoned woman, for honey droppeth from the lips of a harlot, which for a while pleaseth thy palate, but in the end thou wilt find it bitterer than gall, and sharper than a two-edged sword. For the feet of folly lead them, who indulge themselves with her, down with death to the mansion of the dead. Her steps indeed are not established, for she walketh not in the ways of life. Her paths are slippery and not easily known. Now therefore, my son, hearken to me, and slight not my words. Remove thy way far from her. Go not near the doors of her house, that thou mayest not give thy life to others, and thy substance to the cruel, that strangers may not be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors go into the houses of strangers, and thou at last be grieved. When the flesh of thy body is consumed, then thou wilt say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof? I hearkened not to the voice of him who instructed me and taught me, nor have I inclined mine ear. I have been almost in all evil in the midst of the assembly and congregation. Drink water from thine own vessels and from the wells of thine own fountain. Let not the waters from thy fountain overflow for thee, but let thy waters run in thine own streets. Let thy fountain of water be appropriate to thyself, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let thy loving hind and graceful fawn converse with thee, and let her be accounted peculiarly thine, and be with thee on all occasions. For ravished with her love, thou wilt become a numerous family. Be not devoted to a strange woman, nor embrace in the arms of one not thine own. For the ways of a husband are before the eyes of God, and he examineth narrowly all his paths. Iniquities hunt a man, but everyone is caught by the cords of his own sins. Such a one dieth with the uninstructed, but from his plentiful means of living he was cast out and perished by reason of folly. Wow. My goodness. And that, brothers and sisters, is our reading from the book of Proverbs. Beautiful. All right. Keep your eyes on Jesus, brothers and sisters, and your nose in the book, which is the Word of God. And let us embed the Word of God upon the tablets of our hearts, so we will not sin against God or be deceived. Good night.